We are back with another episode of the Scoop College Basketball Podcast. We are back for a few more conference previews today, starting out with the Patriot League. Kyle, what are your first thoughts on the Patriot League?
One of my least favorite conferences.
Yeah, it's Colgate and a bunch of other teams. I think they won the conference for like 6 games last year, I believe. So that kind of tells you what you need to know about a conference.
And
But
then
we
they won
also,
the conference championship game by like 30, I think.
yeah,
The
something like
usual.
that. Yeah, that is typically what happens. But yeah, it was ranked the 27th best league last year. It is predicted at that same point this year. Colgate was a tournament representative, as they typically are. They did lose in the first round to Texas. They have yet to crack a tournament win, although they've been pretty competitive in their appearances. The all conference members from last year, Jalen Rucker. I don't know where he's at now. He's not at Army. He was in the portal. He's not anywhere. So I put some question marks next
He's in
to
the
where he's.
trenches, yeah.
Yeah, he's off the grid. Who knows where he is? He's not pro. I don't know. Maybe he's serving in the Army, but he only been there for
Uh-huh.
like 2 years. So I don't know. No one really
Mm.
knows what Jalen Rucker is. But Keegan Records, he is back at Colgate. He entered the portal, came back to Colgate. Keith Higgins back at Lehigh. Tucker Richardson exhausted eligibility, and Daniel Deaver graduated. He did enter the portal as well, but I think he was just going to forego his last year and start his service in the Navy. On the second team, Matt Rogers, he is back at American. Walter White exhausted his eligibility. Gerald Gates also exhausted eligibility. Evan Taylor transferred to Vanderbilt, and Sean Yoder exhausted eligibility. On the third team, Xander Rice transferred to Monmouth. Ryan Moffat, he is back at Colgate. CJ Fulton transferred to Charleston. Tyler Whitney Sydney back at Lehigh, and Tyler Nelson exhausted his eligibility. Um, so yeah, some returning players, decent amount. There's definitely conferences with a lot less returning talent, but half of the coaches turned over this offseason. Dwayne Simpkins from American is the new coach there after Mike Brennan was fired. Kevin Kuwick is new coach at Army after Jimmy Allen was fired. John Griffin III is new coach at Bucknell after Nathan Davis was fired. Dave Paulson is a new coach at Holy Cross since Brett Nelson was fired, and Mike McGarvey is a new coach at Lafayette since Mike Jordan was fired. So all those coaches were fired. No call-ups, nothing like that. Just a bunch of coaches that did not live up to expectations, and the Patriot League really turned them over last season. So yeah, do we want to move on to our all-conference teams? All right. So who is your player of the year?
I'm gonna go Keegan Records.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna just stick with the safe pick here.
Yeah, it's I'm going with as well. Very efficient inside score. Don't believe he's a shooter. I don't think he's really a shooter, which kind of contrasts from Colgate's style, but he's very valuable. Was
What they
one of the
do with
best
him is
players.
they run the offense through him. He's a
Mm-hmm.
point forward. He can pass.
Yeah.
He's a really good passer, screen setter,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. So his
Yeah,
value is very large, even though you
absolutely.
might not see it. Um,
Definitely a player that could have transferred up to the high major level, mid plus, probably more mid plus guy like A10 level would have been good for him. But yeah,
Definitely.
definitely like to see him return to Colgate. Colgate still has a chance to be very solid this year. Another Colgate member on my first team, I had Braden Smith, very solid freshman point guard, probably the second best Braden Smith point guard that's a rising sophomore, but he's very good in his own right. Honestly, play pretty similar. Uh,
They kind of do, honestly. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean they're both like pass first point guards, have a little bit of scoring to them.
Mm.
Um, yeah, decent shooting ish. Braden Smith for Purdue is a little better shooter, but yeah, very solid passer. This Braden Smith is solid offensive player. Is really good as a freshman. Should just keep getting better. So do you have him first team? All right. Who's
Hmm.
another player do you include
I
in
have
your?
Matt Rogers from
Yeah.
American. Think he's another shoe in for a pretty decent
Mm-hmm.
American team that
Yeah.
um they'll probably be top three in this conference, even though or top four, even though they're not really all that good, but well.
They're better than a lot of the teams. I can say that pretty confidently. But yeah, I am at Rogers as well. A lot of returning talent on American. Pretty much everyone besides Johnny O'Neal is back, and yeah, he's the best out of the bunch. Another player I had was Keith Higgins from Lehigh. Lehigh also a very solid team this year. He's coming
I like
back, all
Lehigh.
conference guy
Yeah.
last year.
No, they're
Yeah, so
definitely pretty good. I have Higgins and then Tyler Whitney Sydney as well. From
okay.
Lehigh. Getting my get my Lehigh boys in there.
Yeah, I had
Really good
Whitney's.
backcourt
Yeah,
there. Yeah.
I had Whitney Sydney on my second team, and then the last from my first team, I went with Will Batchelder from Holy Cross. Good as a freshman last year. Holy Cross is a little bit better coach now. Solid backcourt as a whole, and I think he in his
They have a
sophomore
good
year
roster, low key,
could.
for their standards.
I don't disagree. Dave Paulson is definitely a solid coach. Was okay at George Mason. I mean, he wasn't terrible, so I think he will definitely elevate the program at Holy Cross. And yeah, Batchelder really good as a freshman. Should continue to get better. Should get more efficient. But yeah, speaking about American, I have Elijah Stevens on my second team. Very solid point guard, part of that returning core for the Eagles.
I have Will Batchelder on my
Okay,
second
yeah,
team. With his backcourt mate Joe Octave.
okay. I had Octave on my third team.
Mhm. Again, a Holy Cross team I'm actually pretty high on. And again, they're one of the teams they've been so bad for so long. And this year it could be a breath of fresh air for that program. So
Mm-hmm.
second team I have Deion Perry of
Yeah,
Loyola, Maryland.
very good as a
Um,
freshman.
yeah, very good as a freshman, really bad team, but yeah, he'll be definitely good. I have Ryan Moffett of Colgate.
Yeah,
Um, Again, someone who's been there a while. He's going to get his not a huge scorer, but he'll get
very
his
solid player. I
points.
mean, he was an all-conference player last year. Very solid physical, gate system well.
My last member, I have Dominic Parolin from Lehigh. Pretty good big last year, good rebounder. Um, yeah, he's really their only big they really have that I remember. So
Yeah,
him and
my last member.
Jenkins, yeah.
My last member is second team. I kind of went with a swing here. I took Anthony Morales from Boston U. Boston U is a program that I still have holds a pretty high standards. Like I think it's a pretty well run program, even though they don't look great on paper. Morales wasn't like that efficient last year, but like the team played really well when he was on the floor, which was interesting. He's a good defender. I think Boston U is going to have someone make that jump, and I think he is the best candidate on the table to do
They
that.
have a really good freshman class.
Mm,
And I think it's gonna be one of those guys as well as the guy you just mentioned as well. He's been there a while too.
yeah.
So my third team, I think it's everyone on my second team. Yep. My third team, I Bill Montgomery from Holy Cross.
Okay.
Someone who's pretty I think like 8 or 9 a game last year, pretty young. Um, I think he's gonna help in that backcourt as well. I've Colin Smalls of American. Think he's going to be a pretty solid guard for them. And then I have Jeff Sprouse as well for American.
Okay. Some players I have Octave. I have Jack Forrest for Bucknell. He's probably going to be their best player. Don't love the
Oh,
Bucknell
yeah.
team at all, but I think he can be a
Mhm.
very solid player. Another guy I have is Kyle Jenkins from Lafayette. Another team that's not going to be good, but I think he's a very solid player, going to be their best player and be good enough to sneak on the all conference team.
All right, yeah. So I have Jenkins, and I have Charlie Peterson of Army,
Okay.
someone who's been there a while.
Yeah.
Probably going to be their leading scorer. So
Yeah, I
yeah.
chose him as well. And then with my last member, I went with Golden Dyke for Loyola Maryland. Very versatile player, efficient, and was a pretty well regarded recruit. They brought him in with Santi Aldama when they had all those good international connections. He's still around. He could be waiting for that breakthrough that he's shown the potential, shown some flashes. So this could be his breakthrough year. But yeah, no, there are some transfers in this league, but not enough. I don't think there's even 10 transfers as a whole. So we're just gonna go straight to breakout players. I mean, we can talk about the transfers on the teams when we do the individual team review, but not enough. And the ones that are in the conference, there's nothing spectacular about them, quite frankly. So moving to our breakout players, one guy I have is Rot Bijek from Bucknell. Um, Solid big man for them. Didn't really do much last year, but showed some promise. So I think he could definitely step up this year.
All right, yeah. So I have Milos Ilicic from Loyola. He got hurt earlier in the year. I think his brother's also on the team as well. I'm pretty sure they're related. And he got hurt early on last year. Was playing pretty well. And again, that's a team that's just going to need guys to step up scoring wise, especially in the front court. So I think he's in for a better year. Yeah. I have
How
Jack
many got?
Forrest, a Bucknell as well.
Okay. I didn't include him as a breakout player, but she averaged double digits last year.
Okay.
But
I wasn't sure. I mean, I didn't even. Yeah. Okay. I know he's good though. He's
yeah.
someone from the area actually. So
Yeah. Another player I have is Chandler Baker from Colgate. Seems like a pretty obvious breakout player, in my opinion. He's going to be inserted in the Colgate starting lineup. Obviously, Colgate has a very well run system. He's going to probably be a next guy. It's going to end up being like a really solid, like 10-point a game scorer. So I won't shoot him in there.
I have John Brantley of Lafayette. Someone last year who was he got injured early on in the
Yeah.
season.
Did he even play last
Um,
year?
he he did. He played 13 games. I know he played 2 games last year. He played against Penn and he played against Penn State. So yeah, he played against those two. He had 13 against Penn and OT loss. And yeah, he made a good jump his in
Yeah.
2021. He averaged like 7 a game. Um, I think on Lafayette, team that doesn't really have a ton in the backcourt, I think he's going to take a jump. So
Yeah. Yeah, another guy I have is Bube Moma for Lehigh.
I do
Another
too.
guy
Yep.
I think is just gonna insert himself into the starting lineup. Showed some flashes last year. Lehigh is a pretty good team this year, so I think he will be a solid player on that team.
Yeah, no, I like Lehigh a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not. Could I say they maybe are the one team that can give Colgate a game?
Maybe a game.
Maybe
Not like
they're not going to beat
actually
them,
compete for
but
a
like,
title,
right?
but
Yeah,
they give him a game, not
they'll
like
give them a
actually
game.
not over the course of the season, but Colgate's still gonna run away with the league. But yeah,
Hmm.
Lehigh is spoiler, but they're my second.
Same here.
Another guy I have is Austin Inge from Navy. Um, I think Navy is just like the service academies are really they lost a lot of good players, but like it seems like they always have guys that break out. Yeah, you usually pretty solid teams that
Yeah, just
definitely
gotta
looking
take a
for some
shot in the dark
production.
with those, because they don't
Yeah,
have much of a bio either. Like their bios are very short. You don't
no,
really have much to go off of. So, someone's got to break out.
yeah. Inge contributed last year a solid amount, so he could
They have
look
a
to be
ton
at
of
number.
freshmen, so
Yeah, you
yeah.
don't know what you're getting with those freshmen, because they're all just like random guys. Like
I
there's
think they
like
have like
20
8.
freshmen. Yeah, but my
Um,
last guy was Otto Landrum for Boston U. Solid big man. I think Boston U is a team I'm a little bit higher on in some, so I ended up putting him on my breakout list. I think he could be a starting center. Could be in for a breakout. Let's see, do you have anyone else?
I have Isaiah Alexander of Loyola. It's my last guy. So yeah, he is my
Okay.
last
Okay.
one.
Yeah. Yeah. You definitely see that happening. Moving to your all freshman team, there are a few freshmen in this conference that are gonna contribute right away. One name that I picked out was Joe Nugent for Holy Cross. I think he's going to be in the starting lineup right away. Holy Cross team, very good backcourt. Definitely looking for someone at like the 3-4, like Nugent. So I think he could really be a solid contributor from day one in that program. While we're on it, I also had Cleo Singleton for Holy Cross.
That's
He's probably going to be playing out to bench as a point guard, but he still should be the main backup guard for the team and contribute there.
Yeah, I have Singleton. I didn't have Nugent. Probably should have because they need Minnes at the 3 and the 4. I have Nasir Whitlock of Lehigh. Someone I think who will contribute there. The guard spot, off the bench. I have Mike McNair of Boston U. They have a really good freshman class and they need production in the backcourt.
Okay, I went
McNair is
with
one of
yeah,
their. You've Kyron Alexander.
yeah. I do have Kyron Alexander.
I have him as well. Had to go to BU guys because they're usually a fast-paced teams that have had really good backcourts, guys like Javante McCoy in the past, Walter White. They like to run through their guards. So I think the freshmen are really going to be given the reins. So
Yes. Definitely
um,
some good freshmen on that team. Another guy I had was Jalen Cox for Colgate. Colgate, obviously the best team in the conference. I think he could play some minutes right away off the bench. Colgate does love their guard, so he definitely is a candidate to contribute from day one.
My last guy, I have Josh Ingraham of Lehigh. So at
Okay.
the guard spot, I think
My
off the
last
bench.
guy is Mark Butler for Lafayette. I think he could be a really solid point guard, maybe crack starting lineup, maybe as their backup point guard right away. So definitely think he could be
Mm-hmm.
solid on a team I'm not particularly high on. But yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
let's see. Moving to our individual team review, starting with Bucknell. I have them ninth.
I got the second to last. So that's ninth. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's not really much to say. Like they lost some pretty good players and they don't really add much, but some of the guys they have could take a step. Uh, Obviously, Bijek is my guy that I project will take a step. Jack Forrest could emerge into more of a leading scorer role as he was more of like a secondary, like fourth leading scorer last year. He's going to be the main option on this team. They
Mm-hmm.
did get a D2 transfer, Pipe Lola Ajayi from Mercyhurst. Should be a good physical body inside, at least.
Yeah.
Had good rebounding numbers. Should be good on
It's a good
defense.
league too. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mercyhurst is in the PSAC, so yeah,
Mercier's typically a solid program, so he could
they
contribute,
are.
even though he wasn't crazy at that level. They also got
Mhm.
added another transfer in Quinn Berger from St. Joe's. So someone I watched like one or two times in high school, and I think I liked him. I think he was a good shooter, if I recall.
Mm.
But yeah, redshirt at St. Joe's. I think he might have ended up playing like one or two games, maybe
Yeah, he
medical
didn't play
redshirting.
much.
But I have him listed as a redshirt on my depth chart, so
I think he
we'll just go
is.
with that. But yeah, he should be solid at Bucknell. I mean, if you're Bucknell and if like they would have gotten him last year, that would have been a huge get for them, and he presumably still has 4 years of eligibility. So
Mm.
it's a pretty solid player. Elvin Edmonds, Ian Mata, Josh Ado, also some solid returning players could take a step up with the guys they lost.
I just don't think they're well coached. I don't think their coach does them any favors either.
I mean, who's their coach? Matt Griffin third. Where did he? Let's see. Where did he come from? Because it's a new coach.
Wait a minute. Is that who I think it is? No way.
Matt Griffin. I think. Let's see. I mean, let me pull up. He was at Florida Gulf Coast with
Oh
last
my
year.
gosh, that's who I think it is. Yeah, it's I had no idea he had the John Griffin the third is the head coach. Matt Griffin is from Roman Catholic.
Or wait, yeah, Matt. Yeah, you're right.
Matt Griffin's really good.
Who?
I don't know much
Wait, let's
about John
see.
Griffin though.
Well, I
Matt
mean,
Griffin is one of
they're brothers,
Chambers'
so
best friends. Yeah.
okay. John Griffin's. Okay, yeah, you're right.
Oh, he went to Bucknell. He played there. Okay. Yeah, no, Matt Griffin. He
Yeah.
coached all those good Roman teams. He coached Lamar Stevens, Seth Lundy, Tony Carr. He was, the puppet master for a
Mm-hmm.
while, and he was, he's gonna be an elite head coach soon enough at a program. Can't wait to see him get a head coaching job, and he might get one at Bucknell. But I
Yeah,
think
but
they'll
I
stick with
mean,
the player because John Griffin's played there. Um, that's what's said anyway.
yeah, I
So
mean, he should be a solid player too. Like, is he Matt Griffin's brother? I think.
possibly,
I mean, like, I
I
think
think
I
they are
saw.
related.
You would think so. With they're both in the
I had no idea
yeah,
he's on
he's
the Bucknell
John
coaching
Griffin's younger
staff.
brother.
I thought he was still at Florida Gulf Coast.
No, yeah, he was at Albany for Matt Griffin was at Albany for a little bit
Yeah,
too
he
for a
was.
while, but yeah,
That's where Ryan Daly is now. He's an assistant,
yeah,
St.
I
Joe's
saw that.
legend.
Um, yeah, I mean,
I won't hate this coaching
yeah,
staff then. I'm actually kind of excited to see it.
yeah, I mean a lot of
New
Philadelphia
guys.
connections there, and I mean yeah, Matt Griffin. I
The
know a lot of
roster will
people,
take
but yeah,
a
the
lot to
roster
form.
is not good, so
This is year one, we'll
yeah.
see.
Next team, no, is Holy Cross. I had them fifth.
I have them third. I'm
Okay. I
really
mean,
liking Holy Cross
I
this
really like
year.
the backcourt. Still some skepticism. Like, I mean, Paulson's a better coach, but still they were bad last year. but you return
Yeah.
3 double-digit scores in the backcourt. That's notable.
Montgomery is like almost double digit too.
He
He's like
is.
9 a game.
He
Oh, he
was.
is.
I
That's
had
right.
him at like 11, but
That's right. He's at
um,
11. Yeah.
Joe Nugent, Cleo Singleton, those are two guys that can contribute right away. Um,
Front court's more of a question mark with this team. Definitely. Let me pull up my roster again. I was looking at it yesterday.
let's see. It looks like they have a guy that played 2 games last year before getting hurt, Luthem Koulibaly.
Uh,
So if he's fully healthy, I mean, we only saw a 2-game sample size out of him last year, so not really sure what we're
mm,
getting, but he was very good in those two
yes.
games. So maybe he can be a solid starting big man.
I could see
Um,
that. He looks
Caleb
huge.
Kenny also returns, average 6 points a game. Outside of that, you don't really know what you're getting. Have
Michael
some
Rabinovich just looks like a good backup, I guess.
Declan
He's
Ryan
big.
maybe is that backup. Declan
Okay,
McIntyre as
yeah.
well, backup guard. DeAndre Williams, backup point guard. Jade C, Jaden Kirkwood, round out the roster. Just not really much proven on the bench, but yeah, I really like the backcourt.
Right. No,
And
exactly.
Paulson's a decent coach, so
Yeah. No,
he
I
can be
I think they're the best of the mediocre Patriot
okay.
teams.
Yeah. Next team, Loyola Maryland. I have them at 7th.
I got them sixth. Yeah, I
Okay.
haven't Justin
Perry's
Roloff
gonna be
yet.
really good.
Yeah.
Golden Dyke, obviously, I think is gonna break out. Alonzo Faur, solid big man as well. Isaiah Alexander, breakout candidate. They did get a transfer as well. D'Angelo Steins from Old Dominion. Didn't see a ton of time there, but could be someone that breaks out a little bit more.
I just really didn't like Lafayette. That's why I had them over them. Uh, yeah, I don't know.
Anything else about this team?
Probably not. They used to be great defensive squads with Cam Spencer way back in the day, but
Like 2 years ago.
right, yeah. Last year was just really bad. They lost their identity on defense. It seemed like and offensively they are notorious for struggling. So mm,
Yeah, just
or
not
the
a great
same probably.
year for them overall, but yeah, Perry should be really good.
Yeah, he's
I'm
good.
definitely excited to see what he does.
I won't be watching any of their
Yeah,
games.
Milos Illich, Velko Illich, David Brown third, Tyson Commander, Chris Kuzemka, a few freshmen, Matt Gray, Troy Cicero, Jordan Steinke. Don't know a ton about all those guys in the bench, but I
Patriots put me to
do
sleep.
I do like Perry. I do like Golden Dyke. So moving on to American, I have the Eagles sitting at third.
I had them
I
fourth.
think this is
Yeah.
a very solid team. I mean, they were talented last year. They should have been better than they ended up. I mean, they only lose Johnny O'Neal, who was a very good player, but he's your only really significant loss.
Yeah, they do bring back a good amount.
Matt Rogers, one of the best players in the conference. Elijah Stevens, one of the best point guards in the conference. And they bring back some solid starters as well. Jeff Sprouse, Colin Smalls, Jermaine Balsinger Webb. Greg Jones could play a little bit as a freshman. Lincoln Ball. They did get a transfer, Nick Marshall, in conference from Loyola, Maryland. Probably not gonna really doesn't stick out to me a ton, but overall, this is a very solid team for the conference. I think I like the returning talent, new coach as well. Dwayne Simpkins is taking over. I know he has a lot of ties to DMV, coming from George Mason.
This is a
Yeah,
hire we liked a lot, I remember.
yeah. I mean, I don't know much about him honestly. I don't think I was
Yeah,
crazy in it, but it's also like American. If you have good DMV connections, that could
you're
be
gonna get the
very
job. Right.
really pay off
Looks
at
good.
American.
For sure.
Yeah, I feel like they had a lot of talent under Mike Brennan. They just kind of
They
disappointed. Definitely time for a switch up.
they finally beat Georgetown though.
Yeah, that it says more about Georgetown because American was not actually that good last year, record wise,
Right.
at least in
Yeah,
the
no,
conference.
they disappointed.
Yeah, they
Definitely.
fell off towards the end of the season. Next team though, Lafayette. I have them last.
Oh, okay.
Really, I
I guess
mean,
compared to you, I'm high on them. I had the seventh.
yeah,
But then again, like these bottom four, I'm just like blindfolding picking the bottom four. They all are
yeah,
so bad.
yeah.
So bad.
Yeah, Leo Boyle, CJ Fulton, really good players. Josh Rivera was pretty solid too. All those guys are gone. But Kyle Jenkins is someone I really think could step
He's
up.
good. No, I actually do
TJ
like him.
Berger, former high major player.
He shot like 25% from the field, I saw.
Probably that seems about right. Justin Vanderbon, another former high major player. I mean, I guess you take that. You
He
obviously have
looks all
Brantley
right.
coming back from injury. Maybe Mark Butler gives you something as a freshman. Eric Stonberg, Ryan Petit, Josh White, Ashton Wallace. Don't know a ton about all these guys, but their starting few is okay, but overall, like they were pretty bad last year. Except for
I will
like
say Lafayette's always good for that one or two upset game where they just play out of their minds crazy and then they don't do anything else for the season.
yeah.
They're I don't know.
Yeah,
They're
the
weird.
guys they lost were good though, which is why
They
I'm pretty
were,
low on
yeah.
them.
I'm about to
Like
say
all
I
transferred
probably
up
should be
to a
lower
higher
on them,
level.
but
I
I just
mean,
don't know much about these cadet academies, so I have them low as
uh,
hell too.
yeah, when you get down there, you don't know much. Next you know, Boston U. I have them fourth. Maybe I'm a
Okay.
little high on them, but
I have them
I think
fifth. I mean, I'm right there with
I
you.
think they're typically a good program. They're a
They
team that
are.
brought a few transfers as well.
I will
Ben
say
Palacios from
there are years
Maryville.
in the past where I feel like they could have the talent to win the conference, but it just they don't play
Yeah.
defense. That's been a thing for them. Like, but I don't know. Colgate's just also so good. I remember when they had McCoy
Yeah.
and that other guy, and they had like three really good guys that year. I thought they were going to win the conference that year. Um,
It is
McCoy is
Sukumail
yeah, McCoy is damn near in the NBA right now. He's in the G League, I know. But no, they have players, but Colgate system is just too good.
Yeah. But yeah,
Good program though. Like,
they have a few transfers though. Ben Palacios from Maryville averaged over 14 points a game there. Ethan Akwosa from Southern New Hampshire, all conference guy there, former D1 recruit. So, um, pretty solid transfer additions, both coming from D2 level. Good freshmen, Kyron Alexander, Michael
Mike
McNair,
McNair.
Matai Baptiste, Spencer Joyner. I think there's all our guys that could see some time this year. Anthony Morales, obviously, is my breakout player. I think the guy that can really evolve on this team. Miles Brewster, another solid guard. Malcolm Chemezi,
Yeah,
Landrum,
they have a
solid
good
big
track
man.
record with guards, so I trust
Yeah.
those guys to step up. I definitely
Yeah. Ben Roy was a pretty highly thought of recruit. Didn't do much here as a freshman, but I think he's definitely got to watch out for.
for
Maybe
sure.
take some leaps. So yeah, overall,
I
I
think
think
the
it's just an okay
production will
team.
take care of itself on offense. It's more of on defense. You know, the freshmen putting big roles
Yeah.
on the defensive side of the ball. It's going to be tough.
Yeah. I mean, they were actually okay on defense
They were
last
bad.
year.
They weren't bad last
They were
year.
just so bad in offense that it kind of offset. But
No, last year was the opposite of what it
um,
usually is for them.
yeah, they
That
didn't
I
really
do
have that
remember.
same identity last year.
Nah, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of young pieces. Definitely some room for improvement there. Even with the good guys they did lose. Next team up is Army. They were pretty good last year. I have them at sixth though.
Okay, yeah.
New coach.
I had them at eighth. I just
Yeah,
don't
you
see
just
a
don't
lot
know
of
what to make about
production.
these teams. Like I don't
Peterson's
even.
good though. Like, I
Yeah,
remember watching
Peterson's
Peterson.
good.
He's a winning player, no doubt.
hmm Like
Think he's
besides
gonna.
that,
Preseason has him last.
that doesn't surprise me. I
Yeah,
mean, they're
I mean you're flipping a coin, really, but I like
yeah,
Army's cutting and their action as well. They were the second place team last year in regular season, I believe. So
they wasn't Navy.
nah, it was Army, I think.
I think Navy was better last year. Army was decent though, but
What
yeah,
was it?
Navy
Two
was a
years
lot
ago.
better.
Okay, yeah,
Maybe, but Army's still been a solid program. New coach, yeah. A lot of those service academies are typically pretty smart players. Um,
that's true. Very high
yeah,
IQ.
but they really don't return anyone that average over 4 points a game besides Peterson, like Jared Cross, TJ Small, Isaiah Caldwell, Abe Johnson, Blaine St. Clair. Like, don't know what any of these guys are gonna do. So I guess we'll just see. But I kind of think that some of those guys will turn into good players. I just have no clue who.
And then they have a lot of
Um,
freshmen, I assume, too, that you just don't
yeah,
know
I don't
anything
even know
about.
if any of the freshmen are going to
Some of
actually
them will
play though.
probably be decent. Mm,
Who knows? Next team though, Lehigh. I have them second.
I'm second.
Pretty easy second place. They returned
Yeah,
two really good players. I mean, they lost Evan Taylor, but Tyler Whitney, Sidney, and Keith Higgins are both very solid guards, wings in this conference.
Hmm.
Dominic Prolin should be a solid forward as well. Henry Adiasa, maybe he's a breakout candidate. JT Tan, also another returning big man. Some decent freshmen. Bube Moma also could see a big breakout year. Jalen Sinclair.
Joshua Ingram, 22
Okay.
and 8 from Metuchen, New Jersey. 8 boarders. He's got good size too at 6'4". I think he is going to get some time.
Okay.
Yeah, no, this team checks a lot of the box. They have good front court, good back court. Like, I mean, I think their front court's a little weaker than their back court, but it's not bad. Like,
Yeah.
you have Tan, who's got upside. You got Parolin, Adiasa is pretty good. Boop Mama gives you great upside. Those are 4 really solid
Yeah.
playable options at the front court.
Overall, I think it's clearly the second best team, but clearly not
Oh
even close
yeah.
to first. So
Yeah. I will say if there's something they are missing, it's at 3 or 4 at Evan Taylor position that they did lose. I think that is a weakness for sure. I think that 3 or 4 combo forward who can help out defensively is definitely
yeah, I
something.
mean that's kind of what Higgins is. Higgins is more of a three.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean Taylor was more of like
I thought you would stick Higgins and Whitney Sidney at 1 and 2, but I mean,
I don't know.
I don't know
They
what the
they
plan
they, they could
is.
play around with a little bit. Those two players are still very good, no
Unless we
matter
want to
where they're
start
playing.
Jason Saigal.
Who?
Yeah. He's
Yeah,
Indian 6'2", 175 pound guard.
he's probably a walk on, but
I
yeah.
know.
Um, Next team Navy. I have them at eighth again.
I got them last.
They're
I
only
was
they were really good last year, but they lost some really good players. Deaver,
yeah.
Nelson, Yoda, even like Christian Jones, Patrick Dorsey.
John
We're all
Yoder was from the area.
yeah,
Yeah. He was a really
yeah,
winning point guard.
all very good players. I guess Austin NJ is the only returning player to average over 5 points a game. Austin Benigni averaged
I
4.7,
couldn't
and
even
like
recognize a name from their team last year. I
yeah,
was like,
I
what the
don't
heck?
I don't know what we're getting, but they'll probably overachieve.
They probably
Like they'll
will.
they'll probably have some guys be good, but like I just don't know. The service academies are always like tough to tell who's gonna be good. So like
Let me read off some of the bios. I remember I was looking at Navy's roster, and they had some guys playing who played football last year. I'm like, dude, like, what are we doing here? I'm worried that they're really desperate for guys. And I recognized Cam Summers.
he
He was there last
played
year,
a
I
little
think,
bit.
but
Yeah, I mean he averaged like 2.4 points a game and he played just not a ton.
he's from Paul the Sixth, Donovan Draper. Oh yeah, here we go. Donovan Draper was a wide receiver on the Navy football team in the fall of 2022. Did not appear in a varsity game.
Yeah, well, they can use all the help they get, obviously. But yeah, next team Colgate, clear number one. I mean, I
Yeah,
don't think
hate
there's
them, but they're number one.
much more else to say. Well, why do you hate them? They're
Because
fun.
they flop in the tournament. They get in the
They
way of
don't
other
flop.
teams making the tournament. I want to see parity.
They're
It's just
fun
like,
though.
I mean,
Like they're usually fun to tournament. Like
they're traffic cones.
they can shoot though. They can really
Again,
shoot. They're an elite shooting team
at
every
least it's
year.
like, at least I'll say it's not like they're getting in the way of usual like other good teams I want to see. Like, the thing is about the Patriot, even if Colgate missed, like you would have to see a pretty bad team like play in the
Yeah.
tournament.
Colgate's usually at least competitive in the tournament.
They are, yeah. They're usually competitive in the first half, and then the other team adjusts in the locker room, and then they get blown out. That's what happened last year, at least in some games. But I will say at least you're not like Charleston, who's like cock blocking other good teams in the Colonial for making it. That's when it starts to piss me off. But
Charleston's the best team in that conference. So
yeah, of course they are. Um, no, I would love
yeah,
nothing more for them to lose in the conference tournament. But yeah,
yeah.
I like
Colgate,
parity.
elite 3-point shooting team. Braden Smith's gonna get better. Record's very solid big man. Obviously, Moffitt, another solid returner. Jeff Woodward is another point forward type player. That returns. Chandler Baker, maybe gets a bigger role. Parker Jones, Jalen Cox, solid. Solid freshman. Kyle Carlissimo, Eastern Illinois transfer, maybe see some minutes. Sam Thompson, Nicholas Lewis, JK. Not, I mean, I don't know a ton about these guys, but I know they're going to be good. Like,
Right, yeah,
these
same.
guys are all going to be good shooters. That's just kind of Colgate style. I mean,
That's Matt
last year they
Lang
were number one in the
for
country in 3-point percentage. Year before they were two, number four they were three. Like, they were just an elite 3-point shooting team. So that's always just going to be there.
yeah.
The way they've been playing lately. So yeah. Any more thoughts on the conference? Not a
Oh.
super fun one, honestly. Colgate's fun though, at least. Everyone else is just boring.
um, yeah. Shit. If I have to watch any of these games from the regular season, there'll be something wrong with me. There's like PSP loves this conference. He loves this conference. I'm like, how? He even went to like a Lehigh Lafayette game last year. Like, dude, please find some better things to do with your time. Like, my goodness.
Yeah,
But
there's
Lehigh and Lafayette are like near me. Like, I've driven by Lehigh
Lehigh would be an
before.
okay team to go to.
That's true.
Like
This
if
year
you
it
go
would
to a
be.
few Lehigh games like that, that wouldn't be the worst thing in the world.
It wouldn't be. No, they are kind of near me, and Lafayette is too. A lot of these schools are near me. Bucknell's in PA. A lot
Yeah.
of PA schools in this conference. So, I definitely got the opportunity.
Colgate plays Syracuse this year. Are you gonna go 3 in a row?
I think this is the year Syracuse does it, man. They break the curse.
You would think
But
so.
then again,
Yeah.
Westry's out, and that
I
that
don't
is
think that's like huge. I mean, it's significant, but like he would have been coming off the bench anyway. Like
probably.
at
I've
that
heard
point, just
really
like
good things about Kyle Cuff, which
really,
is really good to
really,
hear. Yeah, no, he's looked good.
that's
Um,
interesting.
because he's definitely the other breakout guy I had in mind. So
Yeah.
hopefully he is
I
good
mean, you don't know what
things.
he's gonna be, so at least there's the allure of the unknown with him.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but anything else before we talk about the NEC?
Um, hmm. Nope. Nope. On to the
Mm.
NEC.
All right, yeah. Well, we will be back with NEC shortly. Make sure to subscribe to our social media channels, subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Instagram, Twitter would be much appreciated. And yeah, we will be back with the NEC shortly. Yeah, on to the NEC.